morning, I'm meteorologist Pew. It's November 21st, 2025. So starting with the severe weather in the South and Tennessee Valley, we do have a marginal risk, or 1 out of 5, for an isolated risk for a spin-up tornado and maybe high wind. And so as of this morning, we're still having remnants of the storms that happened yesterday. So places like Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, you guys are seeing most of the heavy precipitation. And all these cells are quickly traveling to the east, so you can expect isolated to scattered cells pretty much throughout the day, but will diminish by night. And so in addition to these existing storms, around the Mississippi Valley, we are going to have a cold front traveling to the east, and we're going to have another round of storms. And again, these storms are going to be isolated too, and they're initially going to start in places like Mississippi, Tennessee, and Kentucky. And all this rain is very fast moving too, so expect these storms in places like West Virginia and the mid-Atlantic to see these by late evening and into tonight. But for those areas, I would not expect any severe weather at all, mostly just rain. And now going from the plains to the Mississippi Valley to the Ohio Valley, you guys are going to be seeing pretty much consistent light to moderate rain pretty much throughout the day. But as this low pressure that's currently in the plains moves to the east, a lot of this rain is going to quickly diminish by night. And so if we look at 500 millibars or midway to troposphere, we have a remnant of that trough that we saw from yesterday, and it's very much weakening at this point. And so right now we have a shortwave trough going from the plains to the south. And as we know with troughs, shortwave or not, we're going to have a little bit of vorticity or spin, and that's going to help with the upward motions, and also shear, that's going to tilt the updrafts and prolong those storms. But I would say the biggest influence, if we go down to the surface, so we have this low pressure in the plains, counterclockwise flow, high pressure in the Gulf, clockwise flow. This high pressure is bringing in that warm moist air from the Gulf into this region. And as this low pressure travels to the east, it is also helping bringing in that warm moist air into the southern region. But I would say the most significant thing, not as much as yesterday, but the high pressure and the low pressure, the winds are kind of colliding or having surface convergence. So when you have surface winds collide, they have to go up because they can't go down since the ground is here. And that can be an effective way to produce these thunderstorms, to provide that surface lift. And with this low pressure bringing in that cooler air from the north, it's causing that cold front. And with the cold front going into this warm moist area, it's basically pushing that warm moist air up as well. Now going back at 500 millibars, and speaking of low pressures, we still have that upper level low pressure that's in the Southern California region. And we call these upper level low pressures cutoff lows because it's pretty much cut off from the main jet stream. And whenever this happens, generally these low pressures are somewhat stationary or very slow moving. And we've seen this yesterday, and we're going to see this today, but this low pressure is going to be stationary around this area. And so mostly for Southern California, and especially around the border of California and Arizona, we're going to see a lot of consistent heavy rain. And based on the position of this low and the geography of this area, we're going to have a lot of southerly flow coming from the Gulf of California, bringing in that warm moist air, which is why we're seeing a lot of consistent rain. And so unfortunately for this region, we're going to have a lot of consistent rain pretty much all day today, all the way up until tomorrow evening. Looking ahead a little bit, this upper level of pressure is pretty much going to repeat what happened this week. So places like Arizona, New Mexico, definitely by this weekend, expect some heavy rain. And then possibly by Sunday night, Monday morning, places like Texas expect another round of heavy rain again.